Yeah, hang on a slide. Hey, hi there. Hey, YouTube world. I'm Amy.
I'm
Jeremy.
Jeremy. What's up, guys?
Okay. We're going to talk about stuff from Santa Clara in chronological order, even though the Infernal devices came out halfway through the Immortal Instruments. We're going to go timeline-wise.
Yeah, technically, we should be going by a published release date order, but since when have we done anything properly, right?
We've done things properly? Okay.
I don't remember any of that. But yeah, this is prep for basically the huge Shadowhunters TV series premiere this coming Tuesday, and we're both huge Shadowhunter fans, so we had to do this.
Yep, this is me attempting to show off my runes that I can't show off on this angle. Yeah, so we're going to talk about things that we're excited about because the show comes out Tuesday. We're very pumped. Hopefully I'm not working. I'm really hoping I'm not working. I asked for it off. I didn't mean to, but I did, but doctors, so yeah. This is a lovely series that a lot of people agree that it's a better written series because Sarandon had to try a lot harder. Not that that's a bad thing. It's good that she challenged herself and wrote something that was harder because this series, the previous intro, first one, is modern times. So not that you didn't have to try, it just during that time, it's modern. And in the Infernal devices, it's not. It's 18th century beautifulness.
Yep, and yeah, I've got the new cover for it, and yeah, it's really pretty actually. At first I was kind of meh on new covers, and because I'm not good with change, but I love these because it has like the cool spine thingy, it like even though they're different, I noticed that the old spines and the new spines actually do blend pretty well together.
They're so pretty. It's a really fun one. It's basically the prequel series that shows us everyone's grandparents in some way.
Yep, and this also introduces us to pretty much everybody's unanimous fan favorite, William Herondale, like the coolest Herondale to ever live.
Yeah, it works really well. You get to see a lot of similarities between him and other characters in other books that I'm trying to say to not spoil stuff. Yeah, it's a great series. It's a lot of fun. It's cute. It's dramatic. I'm still convinced Sandra only wrote it when she was extra hormonal as a girl. I'm saying that as a girl because I just stop every time I read it. It's like she just wrote it specifically once a month.
And it's kind of cool because like we didn't do this we kind of did this on purpose, but kind of didn't at the same time. But we finished with the last Cassandra Clare book we talked about was the Academy and the Bane Chronicles, and a lot of those actually had short stories within this timeline or afterwards. And we also got to meet Will's father in here, so we got some backstory in the Bane Chronicles that we actually didn't get in these three, which was really cool.
Should we do like a non-spoilery part?
Yeah, let's do a quick non-spoilery part, and then we spoil the shit out of it like we usually do.
Cool. It's been a while since I read these, but I know we get the lovely Tessa Gray, who is a shapeshifter that meets the Shadowhunters, Will and Jem, the love interest.
Give me a sec. So this is Tessa, just for visual reference. We'll get to this book later, but this was my favorite, obviously. But Cassie's lucky number is 3, so
she's also the same cover person from the original book that had her on the cover. Just FYI. Same girl.
cool.
Yeah. You meet Tessa. Tessa is coming to London because her brother's here. She's from New York and like comes to London. And really bad things happen to Tessa that start off a rapid chain of events that continue from book 1 through 3.
She's kind of in she's in a Clary situation without being like in a Clary type of situation.
Yeah.
Like she gets thrust into the world, crazy shit happens. She has to adapt. She has to become badass. She has to figure out her abilities, which we'll get into later. And we also even meet some other characters from the Mortal Instrument series, like our good friend Magnus Bane, who is equally, if not more, awesome in this series than he was in the Mortal Instruments.
We also get Wolseley Scott, who I love, and I'm sad when he's not in other books. And I'm excited to see him more in the other books that will be set up during the timeline.
Yeah, at the end of the show, we'll be talking about the last hour, which is going to be the sequel to this, and we'll do a little bit of predictions and stuff. That'll be fun.
Yeah, we can attempt because I have no idea what to say for that one. So yeah, it's a really fun one. It's one of those. It's one of the only books where you actually really like both guys in the love triangle, and you kind of hope it works out.
Yeah, and it's so cool because in a way, like without spoiling again, because we're still in the non-spoiler part. In a way, it does.
Yeah, it does.
And,
It's perfect.
and it is perfect. Like that, like it's not really a love triangle because both guys actually are cool with the other guy being with Tessa. And
Yeah.
and it's kind of funny because Jem or Will is like literally the most divisive question within the Mortal Instruments fandom.
Yeah, it's a fun one. It works out well. It's one of those only times I've ever been like, you need to read this. I know it's a love triangle, but you need to read this to people. And yeah, I think that's a good way of describing it.
Yeah, and Victorian era London. So if you're a fan of that books in that time period, then you're gonna love the hell out of this.
And it's steampunky as fuck, so that's always fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's our non-spoilery summary. Spoiler summary time.
Yep, and then we can and then we can go into characters after that.
Okay. Spoiler summary time. Tessa is a badass warlock that takes no shit from anyone, even though it's 18th century. All of the women in this series take no shit from anyone, even though it's that time period, and it's great because you get to have our lead Tessa, who is like a nobody, no money, nothing. We get Charlotte, who's the head of the institute, who's great, but she's not really the head of the institute. Her husband Henry is, but they all know that it's technically her. Henry's also.
Yeah, because Henry is like a crazy, eccentric adventure guy, and also Charlotte and Henry are the ancestors of Clary and Jocelyn, so that's awesome.
I like that a lot. They're very adorable too. What else? They're just a really cute couple because they spend a lot of the time talking about if they're not really sure if it was like a good marriage.
Yeah, and if one really loves the other, or like if Charlotte just married Henry so that she could be the head of the institute, or if Henry just married Charlotte because his family was in debt to Charlotte's family, it's some really cute stuff, and I like it a lot because Henry is like a genius. He helped Magnus invent the portals, which is cool, but he's also a bumbling idiot.
Which is fun. He's adorable.
Times, which is leads to some really great comedy.
Let's see. I'm gonna mess up on everything. It's been so long. We've got Jessamine Lovelace. She's pretty cool.
Jessamine Lovelace. Shout out to George, who we cried over couple episodes back. But yeah, Jesse was one of those characters that you don't like at first, and as the story goes on, you're like, oh, okay, I understand you. I do like you. Although her voice actor in the audiobook annoyed the crap out of me, but I guess that was done on purpose because she was supposed to annoy you.
Yeah, she's a very high stuck up bitch, basically, and it's an 18th century style bitch, so it's even more annoying because she's fancier. She's a bitch to you.
Yep.
Who else do we have? We have
I get the Lightwoods confused, so if we start mentioning Lightwoods, I'm not gonna know which one is which.
We have the one who hits on the girl with horses, and then we have the one who hits on the girl.
So I think I'm probably gonna get this wrong if I try it, but I'm gonna try anyway. I think Gideon, the older one, gets with Sophie. Charlotte's a maid and who is a mundane but has the sight, so she's she works for the Shadowhunters in the London Institute, and then you got Gabriel, who ends up with Cecily Herondale, aka 18th century Izzy.
Yes, and they're great, and I love them so much. They're a couple. Gabriel and Gideon are brothers that you don't want to like in the beginning because they're such dicks. Because they're the beginning of the Lightwood family, basically, and their dad's a dick. But they're really adorable when they get with the girls they love, and it's super, super, super fucking cute.
Yeah. Like Gideon reminds me of Sicily.
Gabriel gets with Sicily. And
Yep.
Gideon gets, yeah, you're right. Just making sure.
Oh, I got it right. Yeah. All right. Point for me. I thought for sure I would get it wrong, but anyway, um, what is it? Gabriel reminded me a lot of like what I imagined a young Robert would be like pre-circle.
Yeah. Which we kind of see in other. Oh yeah. Yes, let's go with that. Also, there's Tatiana, who we don't really see a lot, but she's the other sister who like.
Yeah,
Gabriel and Gideon don't like Will because he embarrassed their sister.
Yep, and yeah, because she had a huge crush on Will, like pretty much every girl in London during the time in this book. But yeah, she gets embarrassed by Will, so she hates Will. They all hate Will for a time until they actually get to know Will, which is kind of how it's very JC in that way.
It is Jace. That's exactly how it is. Don't be. It's very. It is.
I'm not even gonna. Yeah, that's pretty much. It's pretty much like Will is Jace, but Alex looks.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. They're a fabulous little group, though, and I love all of their couples because Gabriel getting with Cicely is freaking adorable. And doesn't he hit on her by doing the horse thing? Like, you like horses, I like horses kind of thing?
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does that, and he also kicks her ass in the training room, and she's like, "Oh, I'm impressed."
And then Gideon hits on Sophie by like literally just storing scones under his bed because it's an excuse.
Yep. And then he's also like really really nice to her, and like he does and he tells her she doesn't have to like bow and stuff to him.
It's adorable.
And they go on little walks together, and it's like, oh.
It's a very fun 18th century courtship in this series, just because everything's so adorable for us because we're not from that time period. So we're like, oh my god, they're holding hands. In reality, we're like, oh my god, they should have like had sex by now. But like that's how it is because it's 18th century and they're adorable.
Although I want to comment on, we're gonna also comment on this again during our like Mortal Instruments episode, which is coming up right after this. But what's up with Cassie and having our main characters have sex at the worst possible time?
I don't know. Like, that's just a thing for her, and so she's gonna keep on writing it.
Because again, this is the spoiler section anyway, but spoiler alert. When Will and Tessa finally have sex, it's like in this cave. They're captured. They think they're about to die. Yep. So both Will and Tessa are like, "I'm not dying a virgin."
And you can't undo her corset, right? And it's really funny because you think Mr. Schwab will have no could, but Jem had no problem.
Yep. And then you also, and then I love that in both instances, in both time periods, Magnus always shows up afterwards and is like, well, this is interesting.
He gets to come in after the Herondales have sex. That's just what happens to him. It's just his role in life, sadly.
I guess so.
At the same time, I'm trying not to like mess up anyone. Jem's adorable and sad. Like his entire life is just sad.
Yeah, Jem.
I'll leave you to talk about Jem because I know you have a lot of Jem.
I have a lot of Jem feelings. It's kind of funny. I told Mimi this before, but my family's nickname for me is Jem, and I've never actually heard a guy with the nickname Jem before. The only time I've ever heard the nickname Jem used, period, is when I've met girls named Gemma. So I'm like, oh, cool. A guy with the nickname Jem, and it's spelled the way I spell it. Cool, that's awesome. And then like you hear about this dude, and he's awesome. He's got a sword cane, which I wish I had a sword cane.
Who doesn't have a sword cane? Like they're fucking amazing.
And it has like a cool like lion's head, and he has like. Let me show you. This is the only reason why I kept my original cover and didn't replace it with a new one, is because this is just so fucking awesome. I love Jem. As you can see, I'm 100% Team Jem. I was all for when he gave Tessa the betrothal necklace, and I was like, all right, yeah. I mean, Will can have everything else because Will gets everything else. Let Jem have this one. Let Jem have this moment because Jem freaking deserved it. Him and his instruments. As a musician, I can relate to that. And there was a lot of hysterical crying going on reading this series, and man, especially towards the end. But also, if you guys might know Jem by another name as well, Brother Zachariah, and that comes into play also in this book. And I remember when these were actually coming out, and I was reading it, and I started making the connections in my head, and I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. And then when the bomb was, I was like, shit, it's Jem, it's Jem. Oh my god, it's Jem. I was so excited. Oh my god, it was great. So yeah, before I end up making this an entire video about Jem, I'm gonna stop.
Okay. Jem's great. I love Jem, but I was that person while reading going, I don't want you to die, but I also want Will and happiness. But like, I love both guys. It's very hard. I'm happy with how it ends for him because I'm happy I have him more in later books. But like during the Infernal crisis, I'm like, I want Will and Tessa. Because my brain is also saying she's totally going to make more books, which is right, because now I'll get more of Jem and Tessa in later books. And they're great for later on, but in the like 18th century time, I'm like, I know he deserves happiness too, but fuck.
Oh yeah, no, and I also I found that I related to both Will and Jem in different aspects. Like Will being a reader and trying to like escaping through books and like quoting books just as like pickup lines and stuff. I'm like, this is shit. I'm like, this is shit I do. I like this guy. This guy is cool.
So yeah, Tessa's fabulous. I love Tessa. I relate to Tessa more as a reader. So like she's one of those ones everyone can relate to because she's a reading nerd. And it's really fun, and I like that they just everything about this is fun and nice and awesome and dramatic, and it's great. It's a great series. Will's
also they made me appreciate books from this time period that I hated reading in high school because like they kept talking about like what was it, like Pride and Prejudice and A Tale of Two Cities, and I hated A Tale of Two Cities when I first read it in high school. And like when they started talking about it, like when this first came out, I read it again and I'm like, oh, this is actually pretty decent.
High school does that to you. Will's, like all Herondale's, very tragic and dramatic, and that just, I think the Herondale lifeline, like they're just a dramatic bunch of people, and it works really well because it still makes you love them, but they're dramatic little shits, all of them. All of them.
Yeah, and I think that's why when Magnus first sees Jace, he's like, it's like you're not a Wayland, right? What's your last name, kid?
Yeah. But the Jason.
Yeah, because like in the back of his mind, Magnus knew he's way too much like Will not to be a Herondale.
Yeah, it worked out. It worked out very well for everyone involved. How do we want to talk about Tessa's little shit brother?
Fucking Nate. That guy.
He's a fucking little shit. He just. Okay, so basically he gets with Jessamine at some point to use her to get into the Institute. Bad things happen. She dies. He dies because he's a little shit and he should have died. It's really sad because it's her brother. And
oh yeah, and the whole plot line of this book, before we forget to mention the actual like the main goal of this, is like there's this evil warlock dude named Mortmain who's trying to create like a clockwork, like a sentient robot army in a way, but like in a steampunk sentient robot army sense. And it's like he calls it the clockwork, the infernal devices, obviously. And it like they're like clockwork soldiers, and they wreck shit, and they can't be killed with seraph blades, and like demons are imprisoned inside these like robot bodies, and it's really cool action scenes, and it's pretty clever stuff. And this is the first time we actually meet. It's not Raziel. What's the name of the angel that Valentine fucked up? That's also in Tessa's angel.
Oh fuck, I don't remember. It is sad.
But you know who I'm talking about, right?
It's really sad either way because it sucks when you meet that angel in the City of Glass, and it sucks even more when you meet it in Infernal Devices. It just sucks to be this fucking angel.
Yeah, like this guy, I mean, I can't imagine what it's like to be this guy. He's like just minding his own business. He gets captured by Shadowhunter. He gets captured by a warlock the first time, and he's helping the Shadowhunter warlock chick. And then second time, he thinks he's good. He thinks he's released. Oh, cool, I'm fine. And then all of a sudden, bam, Valentine, fuck you up. Then you die.
Yeah,
like poor guy.
Sucks to be that guy, but yeah, that guy was inside Tessa's necklace, which is fun because a lot of the series revolves around this fucking necklace, and it's a great necklace. It's a clockwork necklace, hence clockwork, princess, angel, blah blah blah. But like the angel's inside the necklace, and it comes in to save the day, and like the end of the series, and it was a really fun moment. But at the same time, I'm like, only you could pull this off because you just had a fucking necklace save the day. Like, what the fuck? I mean, not that it wasn't. Yeah. You know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it was really cool, and like Tessa's abilities is that she can transform into things, and she's half warlock and half Shadowhunter, which is like the coolest combination ever. By the way, like I was waiting for that because I've always wondered what Shadowhunter hybrids would be like.
And we got it.
Yep, and it was so cool. Like all she has to do is like take like an item related to that person, and she can transform into that person or creature or thing, whatever you want to go with. And unlike most warlocks, she doesn't actually have a warlock's mark like blue skin or cat eyes and stuff like that. She looks perfectly human, and they thought she was a mundane for the longest time, but then they realized she has warlock abilities, and they're like, oh, you're a warlock. But then they're like, oh, you're a Starkweather, so you're technically related to Hajj too, and you're a Shadowhunter.
And she becomes like a total adorable hipster in like later books.
Oh, I love her whole hipster phase in later books.
Yeah, she's great. We love her. It's hard not to. But there are people that don't. But I get that. I know. I'm not gonna talk about that. So yeah. The villain's great. We also get Camille for the first time in this series. Well, not really the first time. Kind of. No, I mean this came out before City of Fallen Angels, so yeah, we did get her.
Yeah.
Yes.
We got hinted at Camille before. Like her name was mentioned a couple times, but we never saw Camille until this.
Yeah, so this was like the first time. So when you see her with Magnus, it's like, oh shit, he's bisexual. And that was like a mind-blowing moment for me.
Yeah, because like for the longest time it was like, oh, he's gay, that's cool, and then it's like, oh, you're bisexual, that makes a lot more sense because you've had a lot more time to try everything.
Yeah, so it was really fun. But she's a great character, and I love her, but I also hate her. But I also really loved when Tessa had to pretend to be her.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. Just I love the character interactions too. Just all the banter and the wittiness. It's just so great.
She's a really fun character that we kind of get fleshed out more in her own series, kind of in this one. And we get her again, of course, in the Bane Chronicles because she's Magnus's like first love, but not really first love sort of thing. So it's this fling from hell, basically.
Yeah.
Like,
because like everybody has that one ex that just fucks up your entire life, and that was Camille from Magnus.
Yeah, she's a vampire, so she's around for quite some time. She's a smart vampire. It's a better way of putting it, because a lot of dumb vampires. So where else do we want to go with this?
What else? Oh, this was also the first time we got to see an ascension happen because Sophie became a Shadowhunter.
Yes, we got that. That was really fun and dramatic, and I liked reading that, and I was hoping for the best, and we got the best because she survived it.
Yep, and she became Sophie Ashdown for like 2 days, and then became Sophie Lightwood, which is awesome.
The Lightwood family and the Harringdale family is a fun one because you get to see how they're literally always tied together, or at least in the way this is being written.
Yeah, and I thought, and like once I had the realization, like that. Wait a minute, Alec and Jace are cousins. Awesome.
Yes.
This is cool.
Yeah, it's fun. I'm trying to think what else we want to talk about. Do we want to do our prediction spot?
So that pretty much covers everything. We talked about ships. We talked about the perpetual sadness of Jem and like all those feels when he was dying. Oh yeah, we gotta talk about when it skips a little forward to Will's death and the funeral, and it's just all that. All that just terrible but beautiful mess.
Okay, so basically, because Cassandra likes taking your heart and dancing all over it, we get to see Tessa and Will be married and adorable, and then we get to see him die, and we get to have Jem play his violin for his buddy, his power body.
Yeah. Just for the last time, because he had that whole conversation about, like, he had that whole conversation with Tessa about the famous Chinese violinist who played for the last time after his friend died because he had no more inspiration. And Will and Tessa always kept that violin in pristine condition for Jem, like no matter what. And then when Will's on his deathbed, he plays a song, and then nope. No, I'm not. I'm gonna stop now. I'm gonna stop because if I start imagining it in my head, I'm gonna start crying, and we don't need all that.
It's really emotional and fucked up. And it's a great way because you got to see Tessa be with Will, and you see them have like a shit ton of kids, and their kids have kids, and it's like yay. And that's what will the other series, not Lady Midnight, the Dark Hours is going to be.
Yep.
But then we also ends with Tessa going off to be with Will in like modern times, and that's really cute because it's
and Will's fucking with people as an old man. He's just like trolling. He's trolling people on the Eiffel Tower, and just like no matter how old he gets, he's still the same old Will. And he just like he loves to troll people, and it's hilarious.
He shouts like quotes and yells them in like other languages. Jessa, that works. Jem and Tessa. It gets really cute because they agree to meet every year, like once a year at the Blackfriars Bridge, and they agree to meet there and go be adorable because he's a brother Zachariah and she's a warlock, so she doesn't fucking die. And then in the original series, we eventually get them together again, and it's really, really cute because we also see them a lot in the Shadowhunter Chronicles together, and that's really cute. And we'll see them more in the Lady Midnight together, and that's really exciting. I'm really excited.
Yeah, because they're gonna end up like playing like surrogate aunt and uncle to Emma Carstairs, and I love that the Carstairs line still continues. I'm glad that happened. But yeah, this was just a wonderful series. Like again, until we read Lady Midnight and the last hours. As of this point, recording this, like this is the best I think that Cassandra's written, series-wise, and it's phenomenal. Like I like it doesn't matter like what time I could just randomly pick one of these books up, just flip through it, and I'll just start crying because it's just that good.
So yeah, do we want to do our mini predictions?
All right, so let's go ahead and do the predictions on the last hour series. So we got a little bit of what James and Matthew and all the kids are like from the Shadowhunter Academy stories, and like that one story with Magnus. So obviously they're gonna set up that whole and we also got the family tree at the end of Clockwork Princess, so we know who James ends up with, and all that other stuff. What is it? Because it's James and Lucy are the two kids from Will and Tessa, right? James and Lucy.
Yeah, and then thing on her webpage. It's in 1903. It deals with the next generation after Will, Tessa, and Jem, as well as Charlotte and Henry's children, Tatiana Blackthorne's children, the Lightwood kids, and many more. It's around the time the Victorian era tips over into the Edwardian area, so different clothing, so yay. A lot of it was taken from Great Expectations.
I actually like that book, and I don't like Dickens that much.
Let's see, it's only 3 books. It deals with Cordelia Carstairs, James Herondale, who's power body with Matthew
Fairchild, yep.
Grace Blackthorne, whose brother Jesse Blackthorne may or may not be dead, and which occupies the busy brain of writer Lucy Herondale, whose father would really prefer she marry Alistair Carstairs, Cordelia's older brother, shown with Cortana, looks like Elias did, as Tessa suggested, and passed it down to his own children after Alistair is best friends with Charles Fairchild, who you may remember as potential Buford from Clockwork Princess. Charles would like to be the next consul, alas, and Henry finds he rather gets along better with Cicely and Gabriel's son, who is younger brother of Christopher, who is the younger brother of Anna Lightwood. if not all the characters, but I looked on her webpage and she has like tarot cards for everyone. So I'll add that.
And what I love about Anna, at least from what we've heard from Magnus, Anna is apparently either bisexual or a lesbian, so that's kind of be cool.
I think she's a lesbian because she said something like that on her Twitter. That on her Tumblr somewhere.
Yeah, because I knew it was one of those because I remember Magnus saying that he didn't like many Lightwoods before Alec, except for little Anna Lightwood and her trail of broken-hearted girls, and I'm like, oh, all right, that's gonna be cool.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
Like she's gonna. We get to see what female Herondale players look like, and that's gonna be cool.
I'm so excited for that. It's gonna be great. I'm very excited to see Will go because it's 1903, and I'm excited because that means it'll eventually probably get them in the 20s. Not that it's 1903, but like not that it's gonna I'm just excited to see where it will go.
Yeah.
The Victorian period is pretty as all hell, and like not that Victorian wasn't, but like I'm so excited to see how the world's going to look. And how everything.
Yeah, and also like we get to see how the ships form because we know where the ships go because James ends up with Cordelia, and we know from the previous story from the Bane Chronicles that like Tatiana and Grace have like this whole vendetta against the Herondale / Lightwoods because we forgot to mention Lightworm. We never mentioned Lightworm.
Touch upon that briefly.
Yeah, we never mentioned Lightworm for real. So in the Infernal devices, the Lightwood father, whose name I can't remember right now, Benedict. God. Only reason I remember is because of Cumberbatch. Benedict Lightwood turned into what Will refers to as Lightworm because the disease he keeps joking about, basically the Shadowhunter STD, is demon pox, and Benedict contracts demon pox. Will makes a song about it. It's great, and they have to kill the demon worm Lightwood, and Tatiana blames Will, Jem, and everybody for the death of her father and the death of her husband, who was eaten by her father.
Yeah. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how that plays out. I'm really worried about how that's gonna play out. But
yeah, and I don't want to see brokenhearted emo James that we saw in that story. Even though it's gonna be kind of interesting to see brokenhearted emo James because the Herondales they love 100%. So when they get heartbroken, it's gonna be painful.
So that's gonna be great because Cordelia's gonna fix it and it's gonna be awesome. And yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see how that goes.
Also, I'm looking through Cassandra's Pinterest for this series, and it's going to be beautiful. It's so pretty. I forgot how much I liked this time period, because also it's making me think of Three Musketeers, and I'm like, yes, to all more sword fights. I'm all for sword fights.
Oh, man, I can't wait. And then, James uses pistols and shit, so that's going to be cool.
Yeah, he's an angry little boy, but it's one of my favorite things from the Bane Chronicles with that story, and also with James, is because it's going to be great to see how the Herondale children are as people, because they get to see the perfect ideal image of love, because Will and Jem and Tessa all love each other.
Yep. So much. Yeah, and that's so cool. It kind of reminds me of Boy Meets World, how when they do the continuation series Girl Meets World, Riley, Corey's kid, has that idealized version of love. So when she tries to go after relationships, it's a lot more difficult for her because it's this isn't matching up what he's around. So that's gonna be cool to see how that happens with them. Although I feel like Anna is gonna have the easiest time. That's why I just think Anna's just gonna be fun to watch.
She is. Because her Pinterest board said Anna could seduce anyone. I'm like, yes, you go, girl. It's gonna be great. We're very excited.
I can understand why she's such good friends with Magnus, because Magnus apparently has that same charm too.
Yeah, I mean they overdid it in Bane Chronicles, but yeah. So yeah, we're gonna end it with that. We're excited. Yeah. Very excited. Yep. I'm gonna put her Pinterest board and the page that she writes about it on her website in the description.
So, and we'll be right back with the longer one, the Mortal Instruments, and now we get to talk about Clary, Simon, and all the modern characters.
Yes. Okay. Bye, guys.
Later.